जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন. कृपया ध्यान दियो.
The stage is all set for a super duper Sunday because we have two exciting games coming up. First up is the Battle of the Kings. Chennai take on Punjab, and later in the day, well, the City of Dreams take on the Pink Brigade. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. My name is Saiyami Kher and I have two very exciting people with me. One who went and did a whole lot of scouting at the Oval Maidan this morning, Michael Vaughan, and along with him, someone who makes a straight sentence very riddly and complicated, Bhattacharjya. Welcome, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
How does it feel? Have you picked up some nice talent for the coming IPL?
Well, I worked out I had about 6,000 people to choose from, so I reckon I could find one or two.
Well,
So did you figure out which fielder was fielding for which
We can
pitch?
work out which guy who was scoring. I thought, where are you scorers? There was just players playing everywhere. It was great to see.
because I love the Oval Maidan where you have to focus so much to see which ball is yours when it comes up in the air. It's just such a lovely sight.
And you also have a lot of fielders in mid-off wearing helmets because they are backward short leg for some other game out there. So, you know.
I went with Joe Root, and as we left the hotel, he didn't have a cap on.
Oh.
I said, Joe, you're going to need a
That's-
cap. He
that's-
said, I don't have a cap. I said, you can't walk around the Oval Maidan without a cap on. You'll get mobbed. Anyway, we put a cap on and we walked through the gate, and the first person saw him.
The first person?
The first
Got
person.
him.
As soon as you walk through the gate, the first person, Joe Root.
Oh.
So even the cap didn't work, but it was great to be there. It's just it's like Brazil, you know, in Rio with the football. You know, that's the kind of equivalent here in Mumbai for cricket.
So all you Cricbuzz viewers, if you want to see Joe Root, Joss Butler, Michael Vaughan together doing strange things without security, you know where to find them. Just go wait at Oval Maidan because they're there. Seems like they're there. We don't know which day, but go and try your luck because they were there this morning.
We don't need security.
Oh, that's being very modest, Michael. But coming to today's game, because it's one big, exciting game. Chennai back in Chennai and Punjab go to Chennai. Punjab have had a very blow hot, blow cold season because you feel like they're doing very well, then suddenly they're not. So you don't realize that they're at 8 on the points table. Chennai, you feel like they've been dominant in spite of the injuries, but they have 10. We'll have a look at the points table. So this is a very crucial game for both. Because Punjab is 8 and Chennai is 10. So if Punjab win today, they go into that 10 bracket.
No, absolutely. And I think if you look at this table, it is still an extremely close table. You know, we are past halfway stage. It's an extremely close table. Perhaps Delhi is the only one who you look at and you wonder that it's going to be almost impossible for them. All the rest have a chance. It's not for the teams on 6 right now, it's not a great chance, but it's a chance. But Punjab is 4-4. And, you know, my question is which Punjab is turning up which morning? Because that's the big thing. They've had some phenomenal games, but they've also made 214, but then given up 200 runs when, you know, trying to defend it. But they've won games that well. And for all the, you know, gaps, chinks in so-called Chennai, in Punjab's armour, it's amazing the number of games they've won.
Correct.
And that's the interesting thing, that a good team, and if you watch IPL seasons, good teams are teams who win ugly. They don't look great, they don't look dominant, but somehow they sort of get across the line. And this Punjab is a very gritty team. It doesn't give in very easily. It'll have blowout matches, but it comes right back. And I think that's why I find it an interesting team. And you're absolutely right. For a differential of just one game this way, that way, the difference in the way we perceive Chennai and Punjab, we think like this is the top team, this is right at the bottom.
Because with Chennai, there's always, even when they lose, Dhoni just makes it out to be like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, we were in control. It almost feels like he has everything in control.
Well, he does.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what he's doing. He's a psychologist as much as he is a brilliant captain and creator. But, you know, you're absolutely right. Punjab, I got up this morning and thought, oh, Punjab, they've got no chance. And I looked at the points table and went, have they won 4?
When did they do it?
When was I not here? Have I missed it? On paper, I think they look decent. They've got powerful hitters. I think Shikhar coming back's a big plus for them. I think spin's a real issue. You know, as we get to the latter stages of the tournament where spin plays more of a prominent role in your bowling attack. I just look at their spinners. They haven't got, Rahul Chahar's not got a wicket in his last 5 games. They don't seem to have the 2 or 3 real quality spinners that some of the other teams have.
Michael, you spoke about this yesterday. Or actually, I think Harsha spoke about it as well. Is that in Chennai and Dhoni will want these 2 points. It's going to be a nice and dry turning pitch because Dhoni has won the toss. Chennai has won the toss and they have decided to bat first because it's the shift in the season, afternoon game. You want to put up a big score.
No, absolutely. In fact, that's what I was. The moment I saw the pitch report, low and slow, due to get lower and slower. Afternoon game, you say bat first, immediate. Bat first, by the time the second innings comes along, is going to be a bit of a minefield. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very, very sure that had Punjab won the toss, they would have batted first as well. It's that kind of pitch, it's that kind of... And afternoon, in any case, I believe in afternoon games with dew out of the way, batting first is not a bad option at all.
Well, Dhawan said that as well at the toss. He said we would have batted first, but... it's Dhoni, he comes, wins tosses, he gets those reviews, gets them right. They're just Dhoni things. But Punjab and CSK, we spoke about how we are all a little surprised when we saw those 8 points with Punjab. But they've been a team of opposites, if I can say, contrasting teams, because there's on one hand, there is Chennai and their openers I'm talking about right now, where there's been Conway and Ruturaj who've been phenomenal because in the 8 games they've played, either one of them has got a 40. So there's always been somebody who's opened and done well. And with Punjab, they just haven't got their combination right. Shikhar was injured. He went in and out. They had a whole lot of openers that came in and out. So that clearly is, a point to Chennai there when it comes to the openers.
Yeah, I mean, your opening partnership with ball and bat is so pivotal to being a good T20 team. And particularly with the batting hand, if you've got 2 consistent openers, it's just another thing you don't have to think about as a selection and a management group. You look at KKR swapping it all the time, Sunrisers swapping their openers all the time. I think it's so good for a team when you've got 2 players that are going out there, they get to know each other, the combination works, running between the wickets, they just know each other, just give each other a nod, they know when they're coming, just whisper to you, they trust each other's calls. And obviously 2 very, very good players. I mean, Conway missed out in the last game, 8 from 16. That was surprising. But you just look at those numbers. They don't lie. Very, very consistent all the way down.
Joy, this is, Chennai and how they've been very impressive. But on the other hand, Punjab have, I think, had 3 or 4 different openers for different games. So that clearly has been a problem for them.
No, absolutely. One of them, of course, was necessitated when you had the situation with the injury to Shikhar. But otherwise, they've tried Tede, they've tried, Prabh Simran, and they've really, really struggled. Matthew Short, they've tried everything they can in that position, and they really haven't got consistency. I think they had one 90-run partnership, that was Prabh Simran, and I think it was the Shikhar Dhawan. And that, I think they won that match. But other than that, they just have not had consistency in the opening spot. And today, it's especially necessary to have consistency because of another reason, which is because you're in a situation where batting against spin is going to be a huge factor out here. And Shikhar Dhawan, who's opening for them, is perhaps the best player of spin in that team. So it's imperative that they get going and they get runs from the top because it's going to be very difficult otherwise.
Well, you spoke about the spinners. So we'll get to again. So there is Punjab and there's Chennai. So Chennai is 1 on the openers. But even with the spinners, Chennai is up. So points 2 to Chennai because they clearly have the more experienced spinners. With Punjab, Rahul Chahar has picked up, I think, just 2 wickets. So the spin department for Punjab has also been a problem.
Yeah, look, I believe in one thing also. Take a look at that, and that's very interesting because that actually is about as accurate as you can get for the top 3 as you can actually see. Who bowls for Kolkata? Suyash, Varun Chakravarti, Sunil Narayan. Okay, it's a top spin attack. Look at Rajasthan. Ashwin Chahal, sometimes Zampa as well. They're right up there. Look at Chennai. So actually the top 3 spin attacks are there in the top 3. I feel the Gujarat spinners is just single Rashid Khan carrying it all by
there's
himself.
been Noor with Rashid.
Now Noor, of course. Now Noor is, of course, come to the table as well. But that actually, those are the 4 best spin attacks that you have. And one of the problems that Punjab has had of late is the problem is that you need pressure on the other side. When Rahul Chahar is bowling between the overs 7 and 11, which is where he operates normally, that period, 7 and 15, who's on the other side? And is normally Harpreet Brar is bowling somebody. If there is no pressure at the other end, even if Rahul Chahar is bowling well, they can play him out. Look at the last match. 4 for 29. 4 overs for 29 runs. But they didn't need to take 0 wickets because they didn't need to take risks against him. The guy on the other side is leaking runs. Why should I take a risk against a better bowler? And this very often happens in the IPL because you just have those 20 overs, you just have your 4 overs. And if the guy on the other end is leaking runs, they don't need to risk themselves against you.
You know, bowling partnerships is something we don't give so much importance to, but clearly for Chennai, that's gone very well. There's Theekshana, there's Jadeja, there's Moin, and today if Santner gets a game, we don't know yet, but they've got a really solid spin department there.
Yeah, and also they've got the best captain to manage the spinners. He's the best in the business of knowing where to set the fields, when to use the different, you've mentioned all the spinners, they're all slightly different, and he knows exactly who to bowl them to. I think in his head, I always talk about MS Dhoni, the analysts have all this data on the computer. He doesn't need one. He's got the best computer, which is his own head. He knows and he can see the pitch from behind the stumps. He reads it quicker and better than anybody that I've seen play the game in white ball cricket. So I think the captain plays a big part in kind of operating spin in the IPL, and MS Dhoni is by far the best.
Yeah, but Joy, we spoke about Chahar and how he's not had a great season. He clearly likes coming to Chepauk because his numbers at Chepauk clearly suggest otherwise. This season hasn't been the best, but maybe this could be the turnaround.
I remember him bowling really well for Mumbai, the Chepauk as well. And he's a very, very skilled bowler, and the Chepauk gives something to a spinner. It always gives you something to a spinner. I think Rohit was captain. Rohit would toss him the ball early at the Chepauk and say, go do your thing. So he has that ability to be able to take wickets out here. He is very important to their attack because the way these Chennai openers get going, they need somebody who can come in and control the middle a little bit. And if there's one place where you actually look at it, the fast bowling that Punjab has is far superior at this point in time to the fast bowling that Chennai brings to bear. If somehow as a spinner he can give his team something, it's going to be a huge plus for them because they have a very decent attack. Whether it's Rabada or Nathan Ellis bowling, you have Arshdeep on the other end, you have Sam Curran, who's one of the best, especially in the late overs, final overs, the kind of variety he brings to the table. So I think it's a very good seam bowling attack. It's really, if the spin comes to the table, it's a very decent attack.
I think it's worth Shikhar Dhawan as a captain realising that they might sit on Chahar, and you then realise that as a captain, so you might have to just change when you bowl him. You might have to bowl him at times where the batters are going to go, so he can use his skill to get wickets. Don't just sit him in those easy overs, because I think Joy is absolutely spot on where teams will go, we haven't really got much more, so in particular a venue like this, and they might just work him for 24, 26, don't lose any wickets and attack the other end. So you as a captain then have to realise that if the opposition are going to do that to your key spinner, you might just have to bowl him at different times to try and get him more wickets.
Michael, a little bit on Chahar, for a player who's had probably 5 games which have not been the best, he's been around for some time. So mentally, it's clearly the captain who has to kind of buck him up and say that he's got the skills. But is it that one game, if he has like a decent one game, things could turn around quickly for him?
Yeah, in cricket, in any format, you can turn your fortunes around very, very quickly with just one performance. Sometimes, particularly in T20 cricket, it might just be a flying catch.
Yeah.
It might be you just get lucky. Someone plays a poor shot against you. Sometimes in all formats, when it's not going your way, nothing goes your way. But then it suddenly changes. So he's just got to keep believing. Ultimately, the captain can tell him that he's backing him and he believes in him. But I always say to everyone in sport, it's up to you to look yourself in the mirror and go, I can do it. If you're not telling yourself you can do it, it's very hard for someone else to tell you that you can do it. So he's a good bowler. He'll come good. He just needs that little break. He needs someone to take a flying one-hander. He'll be fine.
No, I know Rahul because, I've followed his career. I've been associated with him for a while. He's a very, he's extremely resilient. He's related to Bhattacharjya as well. He's extremely resilient. He's not going to let it go down. And he's a very, very grounded person, as it were, He's not the kind of person who will go very up and down. So one of the things why, even Rohit liked him as a bowler in Mumbai is, one of the things with, if you're a leg spinner, you're going to take stick sometime or the other. You're going to get really whacked. And that ability to be able to come back after being hit for a couple of sixes, that is what distinguishes. Because if you're a leggy, that's going to happen to you every once in a while. And he has that to the T. He's prepared to take punishment and understand, okay, this is what the batsman's trying, and he'll take that risk. But he'll get that wicket because he knows that wicket is worth more than... So he's very resilient. He's very good. I don't think he's mentally down at this point in time. And he's probably looking at it and saying 4-4, we have a chance. You know, we're right in there.
All right, let's have a look at the teams. We'll have a look at Chennai first and see if the Santner surprise comes in.
Oh,
well, this is their batting. This is their batting 11. So there is Ambati Rayudu, but they will get in that extra.
No, they can't. They will not.
There'll be Akash Singh because I can see 4 aeroplanes there.
Seeing 4 aeroplanes there, absolutely. That means, wow, this is the same Chennai team as it has been for the past 3.5 centuries. This is Dhoni. He's got the right team. He's not. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's got exactly the right team.
I like it. Even though they lost the last game.
Yeah.
They lost the last game. They were poor against Rajasthan. He said that in the post-match press conference. But he stays consistent. It's the best way to create culture.
So it's just so nice for a team, the atmosphere where you know that you win, you lose, you're giving it your best. You know there's Dhoni who will stand back and say, no, this is what we think is our best 11.
Yeah, and if somebody else is going to come in, you'll know why that person is coming in, what you need
Proper
to do to come back.
reasoning will be given.
And what you need to do to get back in.
Yeah.
And it'll be very clearly communicated to you.
If you're not in the team, you know you're going to have to wait a while.
Do that.
Well, we'll have a look at Punjab's 11 because they are a team who goes through a lot of changes. Just one today. There is Harpreet Brar who comes in. And of course, we will see the sub in for the second innings.
No, absolutely. This is an expected change. Basically, you've taken out a fast bowler, Gurneet, and Gurnur. Sorry, my apologies, Gurnur, and put in Harpreet, and that's just clear. This kind of a pitch, you're going to actually have a spinner. So that's the thing. That it's a lot depending on on Harpreet and Rahul Chair, because I think the fast bowlers will do their job, and I think, and Michael will know this better, I think Sam Curran will bowl really well here. Remember, Sam Curran has bowled out here. He's played for Chennai. He knows this. He knows even if they've not played a lot of matches out here, he's practiced on this pitch a lot. He knows this pitch.
Well, there are a lot of people in the Chennai team who came in a month before and practiced a lot on these pitches because Chennai had their camp a month before most of any other IPL teams. There is Ajinkya Rahane who was there a month before and Shivam Dube who was also there a month before, and they've both been extremely impressive. They've almost had a wonderful partnership going along because Shivam Dube really likes to play spin, Ajinkya really likes the pace, so they've just been the perfect pair.
Yeah, did MS Dhoni go a month before as well, did he?
Yes, he did. He was there a month before.
So he had a good build-up to the IPL. He practiced for once. That's something I didn't know. The thing about those numbers there is the Ajinkya strike rate. Just look at that strike rate for Ajinkya Rahane. You just wouldn't have him as an 189 strike rate player. I mean, if you said that Ajinkya was striking at 157 and Dube was at 189, I'd go, yeah, I can see that. But to see that...
What he was last year. 122 runs at 107.
Yeah, it's
at
just
107 playing.
It's amazing. A new environment, a new leadership group, just a freedom to go out and play. But 2 players that have been so consistent. And, you look at Chennai's batting, I don't think there's any of them that's out of form. I think all of them will be feeling confident. The top 2 are in great form. The middle order, I think Jadeja's hitting it nicely down the back end. Moeen Ali played okay in Rajasthan. He hit a few nice sixes. So I think all their batting, the only one that is not in form because he doesn't bat anymore. He's MS. MS Dhoni doesn't. But he'll be in form in his mind. Yeah. He'll be thinking, if I need to, I'll go out there and do it. But at the minute, he's not strolling out there for a bat.
He and Rayudu are the only 2, and Rayudu has. And Rayudu also.
But they back him. They'll keep.
They back him, and see, Rayudu has taken Mumbai. That's the interesting thing. That if you remember, Rayudu was a stalwart for Mumbai, and when his sort of sell-by date came around, then Mumbai thought perhaps he's done his job, and then Chennai uses him for 5 more years and gets 2 more championships out of him. I mean, that is the greatness of Chennai.
Well, the Chennai model, they like to get everyone above a certain age bracket. That's what they've been doing.
Or below a certain age bracket.
Or below a certain, yes. There's the Patirana also, but there's ones above and below is what they target. But, we were talking about Dhoni. We have to talk a lot about Dhoni and how he backs his players, how he backs his batsmen. So even with Ajinkya, he said he told the team management that if there is any way to get him in the auction, I want him. So he was very keen on getting Ajinkya in spite of knowing what his form has been in the IPL and T20 cricket previously. Or with Shivam Dube, apparently he said when he went in a month earlier for the practice sessions, he came in with an injury, and Dhoni said we had different plans for him, but we had to alter those plans, and then we played him in the middle order because we know that he has a slight weakness to fast bowling, but he likes the spin. So Dhoni is he's like Michael, he's very straightforward. He likes to say it the way it is. And that's always nice because they know that, yeah, fast bowling is not his forte, but he'll go and take on the spinners.
Yeah, I mean, it's sensible. I mean, what you're saying about MS Dhoni is very sensible. He's not doing anything, that many other, I guess, managers, leaders haven't done. But he's just very, very good at it. I'm sure he would have probably rung up Rihani as well and said, "I'm getting you." Before the auction, he said, "I'm getting you. You're coming to play for me, and I'll get the best out of you. I'll give you this freedom to play." And I'm sure he'd have said to Shivan Dube, "Look, I don't think you're great against pace, but we're going to use you in a position that maximises your strength against spin. So you're going to help the team." It's all, for me, with Chennai, it's about the team. Everyone's roles look to me how you're going to impact for the team. There's not one player that I look at in their team where you feel that they're batting for their own numbers or just a score for themselves. It's always right, can you impact? What do the team require? What is it? I think it was yesterday we were talking about MS who had given someone some advice. I can't remember who it was. And he said, you always look at the scoreboard and what do the team need at that moment. And I think that's what he's really drilled into the Chennai side, is that it's not about you, it's about what do the team need. And sometimes the team needs you to stay out there and knock it for 2 or 3 overs because the wicket's a little bit iffy and you take it deep. That's the best thing for the team. I think he's really trained his players to realise that everything is about what the team require at that moment.
Joy, we've spoken about this. I think there was Harsha on, and even when we were talking about Hyderabad the other day, where we said that teams... like with Padikkal, we said we should send him up because he likes playing at the top, or we should move around the batting order for the convenience of certain players. So there was one opinion which said that you shouldn't do that. You should stick to what the player likes, the player is good at. But with Chennai, Dhoni has openly said that we will move around the batting order to make sure that Ajinkya likes playing at 3, we'll make that slot open for him. So he works in a very different way, and it works when it's Dhoni.
Look, yeah, it is one of those things that do you play a guy in his best position or do you play a guy in what you think is the best position of the team? And I think the answer is not so simple. It's not one way or the other. Because my belief is there are some players, so there's a great example where Rahul Dravid was a coach of Delhi, DC in 2015. And what he said was that, great, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a batting order where it's all flexible. Depending on situation, all the batsmen will go out. 3, 4, 5, 6 will walk out depending on what the match situation is, which is fantastic in theory. But what does it require? It requires 3, 4, 5, 6 to buy into this concept. Okay. So that again requires 2 more things. One, a culture of a team which is known to allow this kind of, that you have a belief in the team. The team scores matters enough for you to want to be flexible. And secondly, it depends on a player who has the mentality where he's not insecure about his place. So when does it work? It works when, Dhoni can tell anybody to bat at a particular position and make it about him while also making it about the team. The question is that if a player buys into that culture, saying that I am happy to bat at whatever position and he's comfortable with that, then you won that battle. If the player is insecure, he'll say, you know what, next year's the IPL auction. I don't get 400 runs this season. True. I'm not going to get a good price. The moment the player starts thinking about it, and this has happened actually, we have actually watched a game where we have seen a guy coming to 40, not knowing what to do. Next year's a big auction, and he's suddenly, you're winning the game because he's now batting for his 50. He's not batting for the team anymore. So one of the things is also recognizing who are the guys who don't do that. So when Dhoni calls a guy at an auction, he knows this is the kind of guy who won't do that. B is, look how smart a guy Dhoni is. Even now, if the guy is bid for and somebody else gets a bigger bid, the guy will always remember that Dhoni wanted to go for him. Okay? And who knows, that guy might return 3 years later. Who knows what happens in cricket?
Yeah, well, that's, like you said, it's a culture of a team that Dhoni and the team management back their people. Punjab has not really been known for this culture, but we'll have a look at their playing 11 again to see the bowling, because the bowling in the death overs has been a problem for Punjab. On paper, they look like they've got really solid bowlers because they've got a Rabada, they've got Arshdeep, they've got Sam Curran, 3 big names, but the figures don't really do justice to the names.
I mean, Arshdeep's thing is magnificent. It was only a couple of games ago that he produced some magic at the Wankhede, but when you're coming on the back of being hit for 256, 257, I'm interested to see the mentality, because you're now going out to bowl first again. It'll be a different pitch. You've got to change. You can, obviously, your skill sets, but those numbers for the quality, and they are quality bowlers. All 4 of those bowlers are high class. They really are. They've done it over a number of years in different leagues around the world, and for their national teams in some cases. So they'll be disappointed. They've not quite got it right at the end. They've not quite been able to nail the Yorkers. Look, they're up against some powerful, very skillful players, but I think those numbers, Trevor Bayliss, would, without any question, will be looking, because he's again a very clever coach and he gets the best out of most individuals, but he'll be trying to work on those numbers to make sure that he'll know that for them to progress, those numbers have to improve quickly.
If you could just put it up again, a couple of things I have to say. One is, if you look at you less than 10 and over in the death overs is not that bad. 13.5. Rabada has been out of it. This is not the Rabada we know. He's definitely not the Rabada who's hit from. A Rabada who's a purple cap holder, not getting a single wicket in the season is something.
And the no balls have been a problem with him.
It's a serious issue. So Nathan Ellis and Rabada are definitely an issue. Arshdeep and Sam Curran, I'll tell you, they've taken wickets. They've got hit, they've taken wickets. One more thing you remember. What's a match situation when these guys have come on to bowl? Okay. If the match situation when you're coming in the 16th over is they're 135 for 2 and whacking it, your 10 is par for the course. If you've got them below 10 at that stage, you're doing really well. Okay. If they're 117 for 4 and struggling, then you might want to say that 10 is not good enough, you should get 8. So whenever you do it, so again, what they do in the death to a large extent depends on what the guys in the middle orders do and what is the match situation at the point they were handed the ball. So if your match situation is where the batsman is set, if you have 2 set batsmen and you've come into bowl at that situation on a pitch like the Wankhede, if you get them under 10, you're doing really well.
Michael, we touched upon this yesterday, but do you think tactically they're not really using the bowlers correctly, Punjab?
Oh, you could argue in the last game they got it wrong. Yeah. They just had one of those games where the ball just seemed to fly out of Mahali quite regularly. They're a funny team. I still can't believe that they've won 4 games. Honestly, I'm like, where have they got the 4 wins from? But I think Joe's right when they said they're a scrapping team. And I know Trevor Bayliss really well. He will try and maximise everything that he's got. I don't look at Punjab and I look at Chennai and I just know they're operating great. Yeah. I look at Rajasthan at the minute with Kumar Sangakkara and I just see people there. I go, they've got good people running that operation. I know they're going to be fine. I look at Gujarat and I can see that it all works as one. I can look at Lucknow and I see Andy Flower there with Gautam Gambhir. All right, they don't smile and laugh all the time, but I know
that's the understatement of the century.
I know the operation will be operated in a very professional sense. I look at Punjab and I have done for a few, and I just think they're all a bit mismatched. It doesn't look like it. It's a bit like Hyderabad as well, and Delhi at the minute. I'm looking. I don't see a consistent management group. I don't see consistent messages. So I'm amazed they've won 4, but they have, and they've got a great chance to go into 10. And then we'll be talking about what are Chennai doing, because they, in our minds, have had a great start, but they're still only on 10, and Punjab are on 8. So it's a big game for both teams today.
Yeah.
I just love what he said. In fact, Delhi, I'm really, my proposition is that Delhi should play a team against Delhi coaching staff, and I think the coaching staff have the edge.
It's going to be a tough.
They have the edge. I mean, Ponting, Ganguly, Short. I mean, there's Shane Watson, Praveen Amre. You go on and on. They have enough players batting out there as well. Ajit Agarkar.
But I just think the IPL is such a big tournament now, and the franchises are worth millions and millions of pounds. So in the Premier League back home in the football, if a manager gets a job, he generally brings 3 or 4 with him. A management group arrives. So I go to the Sunrisers, for instance. Now, Brian Lara is a young coach. He hasn't coached a lot. And he's got Muralitharan with him. He's got Dale Steyn. I'm sure that, Brian would have been better off bringing 2 or 3 of his own people, So it's a management group. I'm not saying Dale Steyn shouldn't be there. I'm not saying Muralitharan should be there. But I just think the management, I look at Stephen Fleming at Chennai. He's got Hussey's been there for years. They're like a combination. Yeah. Eric Simons is still around. I just think consistency in selection, consistency in your team comes from consistency in your management. And I just see a little bit of, I don't know, I just don't think it looks right on a few of the teams this year. I just feel that the management group doesn't look quite as structured as some.
Yeah, but you're right. But it's an interesting thing because I was just thinking about it. So Trevor has Brad Haddon in because he needs that number 2 guy who he knows like the back of his hand to run his race. He has Andrew and Adrian, who he worked with in KKR as the physio and the trainer. Huge. So he's beginning to get those parts of his team together. You know what I was thinking about when you said...
He wanted Paul Collingwood.
Huh?
He wanted Paul Collingwood and he wasn't allowed Paul Collingwood.
Yeah. But so he will, because you're absolutely right. A good coach needs his unit. You know why, my theory about why Brian Lara doesn't have that? Because Brian Lara has not been a coach. When do you have a unit of trusted guys around who you work with? When you've coached on a regular basis. And I don't think Brian Lara has not had a head coaching job as like that. So that's the point. So he's happy to run with whatever the management has put, and in their wisdom, they put really good players who really understand the game. But whether they're good coaches or not, that only time will tell. At this point, they're struggling.
Well, that's a really interesting point, the way you said that coaches should have their own team. Well, there's something interesting that's going to come up now, and we have the man in the house, so he's going to do it himself because it's time for the joy factor question of the day.
Okay, Rohit got 10 in 2018, Virat got 11 in 2017 and 2018. Sorry, Rohit got 20 in 2019. My bad. We'll have that corrected. And Virat got 10 in 2017 and 18. Who is the only cricketer to get more and in which year?
Rohit got 10.
In 20, yeah.
9.
Is this in the IPL? This is IPL number?
Nothing to do.
No.
Yeah, not IPL.
Not IPL.
Not IPL.
So what was it, 20 and something? Rohit got 20 in...
No, Rohit got 10 in 2019.
Yeah.
Virat got 11 in 2017 and 18. Who's the only person to have got more and in which year? Thank you. That was really quick.
Not hundreds, surely.
That would...
It's a lot of hundreds.
I try, whenever he's in the studio, I try to read his face, but I don't think I can.
Am I on to something there or not?
Like the CIA, I can neither confirm nor deny those rumors.
He'll play his poker game on right now.
I think I've got a sniff there.
Do you think? Because I don't know, that's not a very trustworthy...
I'm not very trustworthy, I have to say anyway.
Okay, so we'll keep this game on hold and we'll talk about it in the green room. We should do our other very important game, which is the prediction game, which I really miserably, fail at. But your predictions...
It's pitch number 6.
Yeah, Harsha's given us that clue, but not making sense.
No. That's the one great thing.
You got it spot on yesterday.
Yeah, so many commentators around the place. You always get to know, who's there. Our Cricbuzz family lets us know what's happening.
Go on, Joe, you go first.
You go first.
I think they're going to really struggle. Oh, no, Chennai is batting first. 172.
I was going to go 175 because that is the par score.
Yeah, that's the score that we get in our stats as well.
I'm going to go 181.
Okay.
They're going to play nicely.
172, 181.
Do you low ball or do you go higher?
No, I want to be in middle.
What, in the middle of...
For the team, Michael, it's for the team.
For the team, you should take 161 and...
Okay, no, I'll go
When was the last time you won?
All right, I'll go for 180. You were 181.
181.
So I'll go for 188. I'll go higher.
Yeah, that's good. We've got a bit spread there.
For the team.
Yeah, better spread. Yeah. Somebody will get it now.
So because anyway I don't win, so I might as well do it for the team. I'm a team player. So 188, 181, 172.
You're due to win, aren't you?
Don't worry, Rahane has heard you and he's going to make your dreams come true. Jinx,
I'm sure he's heard
Jinx, listen to her.
Please listen to me. I'm hope even Conway and Ruturaj are listening to me because I love it when they bat. So that's all for now. We're going to go and watch them bat. So you all watch them, have a good time, and don't forget to join us at the 10-over point at the Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
நில்தானது கடிகே ಹೊರಟಿರುವரை
Hyderabad Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दो